Gather around as I tell you another tall tale of pirate adventures.
The midnight chase through Black Reef Town. Under the shroud of a starless night, Captain Declan Stormblade and his partner in crime, the cunning and fierce Isabella Crimson Bell, darted through the twisted alleys of Black Reef Town. The town was a notorious haven for scoundrels, smugglers, and, ironically, the very authorities now chasing them, the mayor's private militia. Moments earlier, they had pulled off the heist of a lifetime, sneaking into the mayor's heavily guarded mansion and stealing his prized artifact, the Emerald Compass, a legendary trinket said to lead the way to untold riches. Now, with the artifact tucked safely under Isabella's arm, their daring escape was underway. "Keep moving, Belle," Declan hissed, his boots splashing through puddles as they navigated the narrow, labyrinthine streets. Behind them, shouts echoed in the darkness. "Keep moving? What do you think I'm doing, taking a leisurely stroll?" Isabella shot back, her crimson coat whipping behind her as they rounded a corner. She glanced over her shoulder. "They're gaining on us!" The town seemed alive with danger. Lantern light flickered through warped windows, casting jagged shadows on the cobblestones. Somewhere nearby, a drunken sailor sang an off-key shanty, oblivious to the chaos unfolding. Declan grabbed Isabella's hand, pulling her into a side alley just as a group of guards turned onto the main street. "This way," he whispered, though he sounded far more confident than he felt. The alley was damp and narrow, the walls of crumbling stone pressing in on either side. "Are you sure you know where you're going?" Isabella asked, her voice low but cutting. "Of course," Declan replied. "I know this town like the back of my." He stopped short, realizing the alley ended in a dead-end wall. He turned to face Isabella with a sheepish grin. "Minor miscalculation." "You're unbelievable," Isabella muttered. But her irritation vanished when the shouts grew louder. The militia was closing in, their torchlight flickering against the night. "Quick, up here," Isabella said, pointing to a rickety wooden ladder propped against a building. Declan nodded, and the two climbed swiftly, the ladder creaking ominously under their weight. They hauled themselves onto the roof, crouching low as the guards spilled into the alley below. "They couldn't have gone far," barked the lead guard, a burly man with a scar bisecting his bald head. The group fanned out, their torches casting wavering light against the stone walls. Declan and Isabella exchanged a glance. From their rooftop perch, they could see the dark waters of the harbor in the distance, their ship, the Crimson Tempest, waiting like a ghostly silhouette. It was their one chance to escape, but getting there would be no small feat. "Ready for a leap of faith?" Declan whispered, his blue eyes sparkling with mischief. "You're insane," Isabella replied, though a sly grin played on her lips. They rose from their hiding place and ran along the rooftops, leaping from one building to the next. Below, the guards shouted as they spotted the fleeing pirates. "There they are!" After them, the chase was on. Declan and Isabella darted and jumped, narrowly avoiding crumbling tiles and precarious drops. A crossbow bolt whizzed past Declan's head, lodging itself in a chimney. "Watch your step," Isabella called, vaulting over a gap and landing with cat-like grace. Declan followed, his coat flaring dramatically as he landed beside her. They reached the edge of the rooftops, the last stretch between them and the harbor. The main square below was swarming with guards, and the docks were lined with patrols. "Time for a distraction," Declan said, pulling a small pouch from his belt. He tossed it into the square, and with a loud crack, the pouch exploded in a dazzling display of sparks and smoke. The crowd of guards shouted in confusion, scattering as the square filled with smoke. "Go!" Declan shouted, and they slid down a slanted roof, landing with a roll in the empty street. They sprinted toward the docks, their boots pounding against the wooden planks. The crew of the Crimson Tempest saw them coming and sprang into action, raising the gangplank and preparing to cast off. Isabella and Declan leapt aboard just as a volley of arrows arced toward them, splashing harmlessly into the water. "Set sail," Isabella commanded. The Crimson Tempest pulled away from the docks, its dark sails catching the night wind. The guards shouted helplessly from the shore, as the ship vanished into the black horizon. On deck, Declan leaned against the mast, catching his breath. Isabella joined him, holding up the emerald compass with a triumphant grin. "Well, Ironhand," she said, "you almost got us killed. Again." Declan smirked. "But we got the treasure, didn't we?" She shook her head, laughing despite herself. "One of these days, your luck is going to run out. It's daring captain and cunning first mate ready to chase the next legend no matter the danger." "Maybe," Declan replied, his gaze fixed on the endless sea ahead. "But until then, we've got an adventure to plan." And so the Crimson Tempest sailed on,